let's talk about something that has gained a lot of popularity in the last 6 to 8 months, the Zwift Cog.
Okay.
So
little tech chat. I love it.
yeah, tell me what you do you love this?
All right, welcome back to Bespoke Endurance. Today's episode 20 of Recreational Rider to Racer podcast series, where Josh and I are transforming into racers, leveling up on the bike and in life in the midst of busy lives, work, and young families. If that is something that interests you, follow along with our journey, hit that subscribe button. You will not be disappointed.
Okay. Well, something big just took place in the cycling world. I'm not sure if you're familiar. Tour de France came, it went.
Yep. Now it's the sad time of the month. This is like, I think this.
Are you depressed? Where are you at mentally right now?
I think August might be the most depressing month for cyclists because
I think
it's like, what do you do now?
Yeah,
like
the high coming off of that high is tough.
Yeah, like I don't watch the tour every day.
Yeah,
I don't watch all the podcasts anymore talking about it, and I don't text you guys about what like I'm just like, what are we doing?
Are your kids noticing it? Are they concerned about you?
No, I think they're happy to have the TV back in the morning.
Yeah, that's true. I bet
like,
they are.
I would literally walk in, right, you're done now.
Wow.
Get out.
Yeah. I love it. Okay, but now that the tour's over, let's talk about let's start with you. Let's start with you. What are some of the big takeaways for you?
Yeah.
Just as a fan and then also as a racer.
Okay. Yeah. So, some key takeaways for me. I was super excited about this tour. The first thing that really stuck out as interesting was the tour was, as far as an entertainment value for me, completely flipped from what I thought it would be. So I thought the first week and a half would be so boring.
Yeah.
Until stage 10. When they hit the mountains. Then I thought the second and third weeks would be amazing. And it was kind of flip-flopped. Like the first few stages were so entertaining. Seeing a different side of Jonas where he's like attacking and trying to kind of outsprint Tade in these not mountain finishes was really entertaining.
Yep.
And then what I thought would be this epic showdown in the mountains was kind of just Tade sitting on Jonas's wheel and then out sprinting him. So not as entertaining as I thought, whereas like last year he comes in and just destroys in the mountains.
Right.
But when I kind of looked at that, I kind of respect it.
What do you mean?
Well, I think when I just kept thinking to myself this tour, Tade looked like a more seasoned, wise, older rider than in the past, where in the past we've seen him sprinting for 19th place in a stage just to put not even a second into Jonas, and it didn't make sense. And now he was only sprinting when it was really for a stage win or to put a couple seconds into him, and he just seemed like a smarter, more intelligent rider. Like he's aging like a fine wine as far as his racing aptitude compared to what we used to see him do. So I thought that was really cool to see this kind of refined, older version of Tade showing.
Yeah, I agree.
It didn't make the races entertaining, but I respect it. I think it kind of shows like, this is the tour we were waiting for, a healthy Jonas and a healthy Tade.
I think everybody wanted to see even a healthy Remco too.
Yeah, we didn't get a healthy Remco.
That didn't take place, but everybody wanted to see a healthy Jonas going into this, which we saw. Unfortunately, not Remco, but I think even seeing that aggressive Jonas this year was really fun.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of want to get your opinion on this. Do you think he got a little too cocky?
Jonas?
Yeah.
No.
Just in the sense of...
he doesn't strike me as the type to be that.
Well, okay.
I think people hype him up in ways that he's not.
Not arrogant.
Yeah.
I don't mean arrogant, just overconfident. So one of the things that he had, like, his team kept talking about and he kept mentioning was he put on a little weight this year. Like, he put on some muscle.
Yeah.
Because he wanted to have a more powerful sprint.
Right.
And so in that first week, we kind of see him testing that. And it's like, this is a very different Jonas than we've seen, where he's really attacking in the first week and trying to put moves in and attack these not mountain stages, but these kind of shorter, punchier stages, which we've never really seen him do.
Right.
And I kind of was like, I wonder if he's getting overconfident in his, like, oh, I've put on muscle so I can sprint now with Tade or whatever. And I don't know. I kind of wonder, like, did those efforts in the first week, him and Matteo Jorgensen, like, they both kind of had some days where they really cracked and lost time. And it was like, man, when you go back to that first week, it's like Matteo, the strategy is he's going to do a crazy attack on Tade. Mm-hmm. Tade is going to hop on his wheel. And then Jonas is going to do a crazy attack. And I'm like, how much did those efforts kind of burn their matches? Kind of what people always said that Tade did, where he would burn a lot of his matches in the first week. It's like, my takeaway was, it's like, man, now Jonas looks like what Tade was doing 3 years ago.
I don't know. I think even in the, it's, I guess to probably maybe what a lot of people would say the same thing is that, like, it seems like Jonas gets stronger week 2 and week 3. And so I think my take on it with him would just be that, yeah, I think he was more aggressive the first week. And I think Team Visma probably had a strategy of, it seemed like as the weeks progressed, like they kind of were just doing anything, throwing spaghetti on the wall to just try and see anything that sticks. But I think in week 1, I imagine part of the strategy was just, let's be crazy aggressive and try and make this a really, really difficult first week. And I think that probably played to the detriment a little bit of, Jonas. But I don't think that handicapped him in any way in week 2 or week 3, because you saw him performing on different stages where you're like, oh, he even said there was a couple stages where he's like, I feel this stage was one of my strongest stages, Vaughn 2 was one of them, and you're like, yeah. So I don't think week 1 like hindered him in the general sense like it would have previously.
So. It's interesting though, because that's where he lost the time. Yeah, was in week 1.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah, because his time trial was the first thing that really.
No, it was the day before. The day before the TT is the day where Tade went up the Tourmalet.
That's right.
And put like 2 minutes into him. Yeah. And then the next day on the time trial, he put more time into him.
He lost like over a minute or something.
Yeah, because he went back-to-back wins on that. Like that the way Tade went up the stage before the time trial is what I was kind of expecting to see in week 3. Mm-hmm. And we didn't. It kind of was just them riding up together. Yeah. Tade kind of it seemed like they were, both of them letting other guys go up the road for stage wins. Yeah. Which I just kind of thought was interesting. Maybe he's kind of at a point where he's like, I don't have to win these like I did. I've kind of already done that.
It's possible. Yeah. It's hard to know without knowing him, but.
Yeah. Okay. Other highlights. We have to give a huge shout out to Quinn Simmons, like the diesel workhorse of the tour, where
he didn't get most aggressive rider. That went to Ben Healy, right?
Yeah, and I'm okay with that.
I think
Ben
so
Healy
too.
was fun to watch.
Yeah, but in the general sense, you could make an argument that like he was really the most aggressive.
He got best teammate.
Yeah, I did see that.
So he did get best teammate. Yeah. So he got an accolade, which I thought was...
You need something for that. Because it's like every time you turn on the TV, he's at the front pulling for the whole peloton.
Yes.
You're just like, my goodness, man. It's like, what
a
job.
It was fun to see him in the American national champs jersey. Yeah. It's so easy to point out. Yeah. But no, he was definitely a highlight for me in this tour. Watching.
Had enough energy to lift up his fiance to get engaged, right after.
That was just adrenaline.
Just that adrenaline. It's like, I don't know if I'd have the energy.
So something else that stuck out to me. This is a bit more kind of transitioning from racing to more of the tech side. Mm-hmm. It was really fun to see the uphill time trial stage, because that was like.
I didn't love it.
It was so fascinating to me to see what bikes teams are going to
That's true.
bring to the table,
Yeah.
because this is
It's an interesting dynamic.
a lot of the bikes are pretty much marginal when you pit them up against each other.
Right.
Most of them are within a few watts in the wind tunnel. They're right around 6.9 when they get the weight down, kilograms. So like it's almost like a NASCAR. Like they're kind of marginal.
Right.
But the time trial is a different beast because they kind of get to have a little bit more leeway in what they do, and you're just like, all right, what's this guy showing up with? So I thought it was interesting. One thing I saw that was cool was Tade's aero bike. They stripped, like, it's a heavy bike, and they stripped it down.
his paint, right?
They stripped his paint. They took he rode with no handlebar tape.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
A lighter saddle.
I think I saw a video in this post race, and they kind of did maybe you sent it in the group text,
Yeah.
where it was like a post, like what he did for this
to
specific.
get the weight down.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So I thought that was cool. The thing that really stuck out to me was, and I could be wrong on this, but from what I saw, not a single Specialized sponsored rider rode the SL8 up the mountain.
Yeah.
They all were on the Shiv.
Which I didn't see that, but yeah, you said that nobody rode the SL8. That's
It
interesting.
makes no sense to me. None whatsoever.
Yeah.
Because no matter how much you strip down a time trial bike, it's not going to be as light as an SL8. And what I don't get is all these teams are going up a mountain and they're not in the aero tuck position. They're all on the horns. They're all upright. And I'm like, why wouldn't you choose a bike that is got aero capabilities but is so light and so stiff?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I know that they test all this, and I know that there's a lot of really smart people behind the scenes kind of doing all the science. And I'm like, I just want to know why not one team like had an SL8. I'm like,
Specialized, if you're listening,
please tell us.
Yeah.
Because it's like, this is the perfect thing for an SL8. It's a steep, sustained effort. So that thing, it's going to be stiff. It's going to be light. And I'm like, even if you have a stripped down, I mean, you've even said it, your time trial bike.
Yeah.
It just doesn't have that, like.
Oh, that thing is, anytime you go up a hill, it's just like, oh, this thing's a beast.
But even when you do quick accelerations,
Yes.
it doesn't have that, like.
No, it's not snappy.
That snappy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why would you, like, I get it for a time trial, but not it's just an uphill, like, in essence, they were not even doing a time trial. It was an uphill.
See, that's what
thing.
I didn't care for, where I think in terms of like a time trial, I understand that it's you got to change up the stages from year to year. Can't just be the same every year. I get that, but at the same time, like as a time trial, I think that also helps bring up some other riders who are stronger, guys like Remco and others that just that will probably lose time on the mountain stages, where just like you have plenty of mountain stages. Why throw a mountain stage into a TT? It's like to me, I didn't care for that, because I thought that it's like, it gives the opportunity for other riders who maybe not as strong on the mountains to really make some potential like gains on guys that maybe not strong on the TT, and so it's like, now Tade and Jonas, obviously they're very strong on the TT as well, but I just didn't care for that. I thought that was something that, like, as a future, like for future racing, I'm just like, man, I feel like that just limits even more those guys that already struggle they're just not mountain goats. And so they're like, okay, well now it's a mountain time trial-ish, but not really, so that's what the only thing I didn't care for in the tour was that. I thought everything else was like, stages were fun.
It's interesting too, because the sprinter guys, it's like they kind of use that as a recovery stage.
Yeah.
If you think about it, like they just have to get up the mountain and beat the time cut, which is, they have plenty of time to do that.
Yeah.
Whereas like the GC guys, they have to race that day.
Yeah, exactly.
What did you think of the finish this year?
I loved it. I think that it was really fun to see WoW. I mean, I don't know anybody who doesn't like WoW, but it's like I think this is his 10th Grand Tour win.
Okay.
And so I think that was really cool. I think there was this quick stat that compared like Matthew Van Der Poel, because I think there was a time, I think they talked about this on The Move, where they mentioned like there was a time where Matthew Van Der Poel and Wout were being compared
all the time.
Yeah,
in the
but then
classics.
obviously like, Van Der Poel has kind of put himself above with some of these classics and, kind of, doing that. But it's like, I think for just Wout, like even given his like crash and kind of the season he's had, where it's like the last 2 years almost, where it's like he's just had this like coming back to where he's trying to get these wins and these stages, but it's like he's coming really close and he's not. I think he got a stage win in the Giro. So
yeah, he did.
He did. He did get a stage win recently, but in terms of just him being able to do that, where he dropped Tade, and you're just like, he did what the other riders couldn't do.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really cool, and I loved the fact that even Tade really kind of like honored the yellow jersey in that way. Of he, even with the whole time cutoff where they, I guess because of the rain, they. I didn't know this until afterwards, but it's like, where they organizers basically neutralized the GC times. And so I think it was like 50 kilometers from the finish or something like that. But then
So
Tade's still
30 miles.
racing it. Like
Yes.
he's still like, arguably he could have just been like, oh, I'm good. Like, I don't care.
And
I've
that
already
made
won
it
the tour.
exciting.
Yeah.
So okay.
But with the crowds coming
Yes.
up, like all those shots of like, wow, just like he's just putting a crazy dig in. I was just like, dude, that's I don't know how you go back to the other, previous
Just sprint stage, yeah.
Sprint stage. I'm like, that was just so much more epic.
Yeah.
And maybe because of the rain, I don't know. I just thought that was really cool.
So I didn't like the time neutralization because I understand it for the rain and safety.
Yeah.
But I think what was a bummer is like Tade's racing and Jonas comes in like 10 plus minutes behind.
Yeah.
And there's no penalty for
Right.
that. It would be cool on the last stage to actually see the peloton racing.
Yeah.
Where it's like, my GC depends on this. I'm 20 seconds down. Like the battle for fourth was third was close between Anneli and Lipowitz. So that would have been cool to see them like really battling on the last day. I hope in the future that they keep the format of not what they did this year, kind of a classic stage with some cobbles and some sprints.
Yeah.
I hope
like almost a 6% gradient at the end.
Yeah, like a cool all-rounder course. The fans seemed awesome.
Yeah.
I just hope they don't neutralize it. It'd be fun to see them racing into Paris and not just like, oh, I'm here, I showed up. And
yeah. I mean, it seems like I imagine the amount of positive feedback that everybody will give, given that stage 21 with the Champs-Élysées.
There it is.
There.
You got it.
Got it. I imagine American boy can't pronounce stuff. But I imagine that the amount of positive feedback will make them want to do that again.
Yeah.
I imagine that will take place,
so.
which I agree. I think that was really fun to watch.
Yeah. Any other overall highlights that we're missing as far as, we've covered the GC battle. Nothing really exciting with the polka dots. Tade got that. We knew that would happen.
It was fun to see the future of potential GC guys. Now, I think everybody agrees with the sentiment that it's like whenever Tade wants to retire, and we'll get into that for a second, but it's like in a minute. But I think, you have guys like you see these guys like Lipowitz come up and Oscar Onley, and you're just like, these guys, arguably they're like, oh, these are like no-name guys coming up, and they're like, wow, these guys are potentially the future. They can be now competing for third in the tour. Where it's like you see that where obviously Remco pulled out, but it's like you now see these other two guys where it's like, oh, cool, this is the future. And obviously for Red Bull, it's positive, but it's not what they obviously want to. It's like their owner wants them to win, but it's like you see the transition already happening. Just that kind of baton pass off. And so I just think that's really fun to kind of see these guys and perform really well.
I want to do a side note only because you just mentioned this. So I saw an article today that apparently it's been confirmed that Remco is going to Red Bull.
Well, that's been kind of the rumor.
And I think I saw it today that it's happening.
So what do you think do you think Lipowitz would be the GC guy? Or do you
I
think
don't know.
Because Remco would be a crazy second guy.
Remco's not going to Red Bull thinking I'm going to be a domestique for somebody younger than me.
No.
But also,
that's interesting.
How does that factor with Roglic?
Right.
Where, we haven't even talked. This tour was like, is he on drugs? Like, is he high? Like, he just is like in this zen. I don't really care. Whatever. I don't mean when I say drugs, like I don't mean performance enhancing drugs. I just mean like he seemed like he was just like, Roglic, how do you feel about the race? I don't know. I don't care. Like he just seemed like
just nonchalant about it.
Not quite like Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh, but up until the last,
such a likable guy.
But the last week, then we see him like attacking and getting in breakaways. But
maybe part of that was just to take the pressure off. Too.
But he went to Red Bull to try to win the Tour.
Right, it's true.
And now they've got Lipowitz.
I know.
Who overtook Roglic.
Right.
And now they're gonna get Remco. Like,
yeah,
is that too many cooks in the kitchen?
It could be. It very much could be. I think it would be interesting to see how that plays out. I think that was the rumor of like what happens to Remco, because obviously the other thing was like seems like there's been talk of him being unhappy on his current team, and it's like I can understand that. If you don't feel like you have a really solid number 2 person on your team, just like you do with Tade or Jonas or others, where you're just like, man, I gotta have my guy. You know, I gotta have a couple guys with me to really make this, you know, put me in a better position, you know, in some of these stages. So I
also wonder, is that the strategy of these super teams now? You know, I did hear a theory talking about UAE where it's like, okay, they have Tade, but all these other guys, they have a really stacked, deep team with young and old talent. And it's like a lot of those guys could be a GC guy on any other team, but they're all his domain. So is that the strategy where instead of, you know, we're kind of seeing teams consolidate all the talent?
Correct.
I don't know.
I mean, it happens in other sports. It happens in, NBA. You see that a lot. You see that with, you know, other
like dream teams.
Yeah, it's basically just them, you know, being like, hey, let's compile all the all-stars on this one team. And they're just like, well, it is a strategy, and sometimes it works. So
right.
I thought it was interesting to see one of the things that happened after the Tour was just Tade mentioning that he may retire in the near future, mentioning that, like, you know, for LA Olympics are 3 years away. And he said at that point, I might consider, you know, what's next. And, you know, it's just interesting. It's one of those, perhaps it's a throwaway comment. Maybe it's the media taking it to, you know, something that's not meant to be. But I think that's one of those things that is really interesting to think that, like, you just figure out, like, man, these guys aren't going to race forever.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that was one of my takeaways, like, as a local racer, somebody who were just getting into racing. I think one of the things I was thinking about with, even Tade mentioned that, because it's like, man, he can compete for a really long time, it seems like. But does he want to do the Tour forever?
Right.
He might not. Like, he might not enjoy it. I can't imagine the amount of, like, stress that causes you, but also, like, just all the media that you have to deal with for, like, almost a month straight of just being like, you're just bombarded night and day. Press,
he definitely
press, and you're just like, man, that's got to wear you out. And then afterwards, everybody wants to interview you. Everybody, and just like, I imagine he could be one of those people that just be like, I just need, like, some space. You know, like, I've been in front of a camera from the moment I wake up until the moment I sleep for arguably for like a month every year, you know, and just like, gosh, that's got to wear on you.
He definitely seemed, bore is not the right word, but just kind of over the, like, not pissed at the media, but just like, I don't want to be here doing this. Yeah. Like, he definitely had like a just kind of, I would rather be other places than interviewing this right now.
Well, and there's somebody who mentioned this, I forget who, but it's like basically in the last stage, he was waiting for one of his teammates, and he just, like, there's somebody else that was near him and some other staff member or something like that. And he's like, hey, how was your day? And it's just like, you just won the Tour.
Right.
And then he just,
for the fourth time.
And you're just like, that's not the same mentality as like winning your first or second Tour, where you're just kind of, and maybe it goes to your point of like, maybe it's that idea of him just being like fatigued with the Tour and being like, yeah, I don't know if I want to do this forever, you know? So it's interesting, but it also makes me think of, like, as a local racer, just trying to enjoy the journey, right? Like, we're never going to get pro, but I also, like, enjoy the fact that, like, if you get to the point where you just feel so burnt out, like, I hope I don't want to get to that point. You know, I hope I don't want to get to the point where I'm just like, man, I've done this for so many years, and yet I'm just like constantly tired, constantly fatigued, or I'm just not performing the way I want to. And you just kind of get to that point where you're just like, man, I'm not enjoying this as much anymore. Yeah. And I do, like, that's where it's like, just trying to enjoy the journey, like, enjoy the progress, like, compare yourself only to yourself, you know. But yeah, what do you think? Any other takeaways for you as a local racer, like, from the Tour?
I think what you just said about, like, burnout is interesting because, you know, so much of what people in our category of this like kind of recreational to racer kind of amateur stuff, we're always looking at the pros of like what are the marginal things we can do.
Right.
But like, you know, we even know people that have done a lot of stuff to get better and they just kind of burn out like very quickly. Yep. And so you have to think like, gosh, yeah, they're getting paid to ride their bikes, but you know, as soon as your passion or hobby becomes your livelihood, you kind of lose passion for it. Like I've heard that a lot.
Yep.
And I don't know. I kind of think of Tade as like for American football, like watching Tom Brady in the sense of like you know, I did not like Brady when I was younger, but as he got really old, I was like, at this point, just I want you to win 5 more because it's like I like rooting for that older underdog. So I'd love to see him go into his mid to upper 30s. I don't think he will.
Yeah.
Geraint Thomas, this was his last tour.
I know. What was he? Is he 40?
He's
40
about.
years old?
I think he might be. He's either 39 or 40.
Yeah.
And he said like, I don't think that the guys today are going to have a career as long as I have because cycling has changed so much. He's like, they're measuring every piece of food that goes into their body, they're weighing. Yeah. They're living at altitude away from their families. You know, we saw the article,
longevity of it. It's just as a lifestyle.
It's not sustainable.
It can't be something that most people would enjoy, especially if you're married or especially if you've got kids or something where it's like, I imagine that takes a massive toll. You see it even with Jonas.
Yeah, I was going to say, we saw Jonas's wife talking about that. And, you know, I think one of the advantage is that Tade has is, I wouldn't call it an advantage. I want to reframe that. But, you know, he's engaged, but he has no kids. I'm not saying kids are a hindrance, but like, you know, Jonas is thinking, I want to see my kids grow up. Yeah. Tade doesn't have to wrestle with that and reconcile that thought. Yeah. And so...
his fiance races too.
So and his fiance is a pro. So that might change if they have kids. Yeah. You know, it's...
I think the other thing that was interesting for me is talking like in terms of like just things I was thinking about as like a takeaway was the idea of like good and bad days where, you know, it's so common for, especially in the local races where it's like most guys and gals are going to show up. They're not going to win every race. They're not going to have great performances every single race. Right. Like, so I think in terms of what it made me think about was like Jonas losing time on the time trial. And, you know, and at the same time, the second time trial, the uphill one, like he ended up beating Remco. Like he had this kind of like, I'm not done. And then even you saw that into week 2 and 3 where it's like he was having some of his best climbs. Yeah. And it's just like, I love that. Like it's, you know, because he could have easily been mentally defeated week 1 where he started losing time. And you're like, tour's over, whatever. But it's like, he was like, no, like I'm not going to give up. I'm going to fight till the very end. Yeah. And I love that because it just makes me think that like even the guys that are the best in the world have good and bad days. Yes. Like where his time trial where it's like, what happened here? And it's like, I don't know. But you know, it's like, oh, that happens in our local races all the time. It happens to us. But it's just like, man, the ability to like, just have a short-term memory and your bad days and just be like, hey, you know what? Bad race or bad day, chalk it up and be like, cool. That's not going to let me affect how I'm going to continue to, you know, keep racing or keep, you know, learn from that. But yeah. Absolutely. I definitely think one thing I have to respect is Jonas's mental fortitude. Yeah. To come back from last year's crash, battle till the very end, lose time this year in the first week. And I mean, you know, I don't think Tade going into the third week was like, I'm 4 minutes up, I can rest now, because he knew Jonas is ferocious in the third week, and he's not going to not be that. So I think from that dynamic, I have mad respect for his mental fortitude. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's incredible. All right, before we go any further, we want to give a huge shout out to Road ID for not only supporting our podcast, but also letting us film right here at their headquarters. If you're a cyclist, runner, or someone who wants peace of mind while out on the road, Road ID has you covered. Their medical IDs provide crucial info in case of an emergency, and they look great too. Do yourself a favor, check out roadid.com and grab one today. Big thanks to the team at Road ID for their support.
This episode is also brought to you by one of our sponsors, Chris Carville, the bike lawyer, the Kentucky bike lawyer. If you are injured in a bicycle accident, Chris is the guy to call. 20 years legal experience and tens of thousands of miles of training and racing. He's not just a legal pro, he's a cyclist who understands what it means to ride and the risks that come with it. Representing both Ohio and Kentucky injured cyclists, whether you've been in a crash or just want to know your rights on the road, visit carvillelegal.com.
Yep. Let's talk about something that has gained a lot of popularity in the last 6 to 8 months, the Zwift Cog.
Okay.
So
little tech chat. I love it.
Yeah. Tell me what do you love this? This new piece of technology that they came out with got a lot of popularity, especially in Tour this year, where they're promoting it on different podcasts.
Yeah.
So to me, it became more. I was
became more
vaguely
aware of it.
familiar,
Okay.
but then I started looking into it during the Tour.
So you want I would love to have one. I still have the trainer that the wheel goes on. So I would, if I could have my upgraded indoor setup this winter, because I want to upgrade my setup this winter. I'd love to get a direct drive trainer, and what I want to do is try to find a used trainer and just buy a Zwift Cog.
Yeah.
So the Zwift Cog, if you don't know what we're talking about, it's basically on a direct drive trainer. So you take off the rear wheel, and you have a trainer, and it's got its own cassette, and you put your bike on that, and then as the trainer, we've talked about trainers in erg mode and all that. As the trainer adds resistance, you shift the gears. Yep. So the Zwift Cog, what makes it awesome is instead of putting a cassette on the trainer, you just put the cog on.
Yeah.
And
that's a game changer in and of itself.
It is, what I think is amazing is it runs 7 through 12 speed cassettes. So if it's funny when we had the two doctors on.
Yeah.
And Natalie was talking about her and her husband both race.
Yeah.
They had to fight over equipment. I'm like, that would be the best piece of tech, because whatever bike you have, whatever amount of gears it has, it doesn't matter. You throw it on the cog. It comes with this little blip remote.
Yeah.
And then the trainer becomes your 24 speed gears.
Yeah.
Versus you having to shift on the bike.
Well, I think what's interesting too is the Zwift Click, in terms of like the shifting where it's, you place this on like your handlebar, but it shifts your gears directly. Yeah. I think that
so
would be interesting. So it
shifts the trainer, which simulate your gears.
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct. And I just think that would be I'm sure it'd be fine to get used to, but that would just be an interesting thing to mess with. And I'm just like, I would love to test it out.
Well, this is for you, I think, the fix to your problem.
Yeah.
Because you've been saying your trainer is set up for your 10-speed Trek triathlon bike, your time trial bike. And you're like, I'd love to get my SL7 on there, but one's 10 speeds, one's 12, one's SRAM, one's Shimano.
Yep.
This gets rid of all of those problems.
The only problem with that, this Zwift Cog is not compatible.
Hang on. The what cog?
The Zwift
there
Cog.
It is. Zwift. I knew it was going to happen. I knew it was going to happen. The Champs-Élysées.
Champs-Élysées.
Anyway,
I do what I can, Greg. I do what I can. I do what I can.
The Zwift Cog. Go ahead.
Where was I going with this?
You were saying the only problem for you with the Zwift Cog.
That's right. Thank you. It's just not compatible
with
my trainer.
With your trainer.
My TAC-X.
Okay.
You threw me there for a hard loop. Now I'm thinking about
compatible. This thing's compatible with everything. What are you talking about?
It's not compatible with everything.
Okay.
So I encourage anybody who's looking at this or considering this, obviously go on Zwift's website and look at the compatibility of this, because it has a litany of different trainers that it is compatible with and ones that it is not. And unfortunately, my TAC-X is one of the older models, even though it doesn't feel really old, is not compatible with it. It is compatible with some of the newer models, but unfortunately not mine.
So it's not that it won't mount, it's just the software won't work.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep, it's a software issue.
Okay.
Yep.
That's what I do. I do want to try to find a used trainer this year.
Yeah.
And just
You've got one potentially in the works, right?
I don't know. Jesse.
Maybe. Hard maybe.
Maybe it's a hard maybe.
Call me maybe, Jesse.
Yeah, Jesse, please. Sell me your
Yeah, I
trainer.
think you need to upgrade. That would be a really good upgrade.
I think
You would enjoy it a lot more.
I do. I think that doing intervals when the thing it spins, and we've talked about that. It's just not been.
I think
fun. Maybe that's why I hate erg mode so much.
Here we go. All
right.
Okay, so what we would love to hear from you guys, obviously this is a very popular new trend in tech. We'd love to hear what you think of this. Do you currently have one? Would you buy this for your trainer if it's compatible? Do you think this is the future of indoor training as well? Or do you think this is kind of a Zwift only walled garden? Would love to hear you guys' thoughts.
Wall of garden. I don't know what that means, but I'll look it up later. All right. I've got something for you before we kind of wrap the show. So I was thinking about this. For a lot of people who are racers at our level, the season is winding down. You know, a lot of people kind of start wrapping up their racing season in August.
Sure.
Maybe they do a Fondo in September, but we're kind of getting to the end of the racing season.
Yeah.
And so it kind of got me thinking. This is the time of year where you kind of look at your bike and start going, okay, I have put some wear on this year. Yeah. It's time for some TLC on the bike, some tender love and care. It's time for some upgrades.
Thanks for spelling that out.
It's time for some potential upgrades for next year. And so I kind of want to play a game with you. So I'm going to run through a list of at-home maintenance tasks. And you're going to rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10.
Uh-oh.
1 being, I really suck at this, or 10 being, I'm super confident in this. And these are things that are, I kind of just thought of some random stuff that people deal with at their homes.
Sure.
Stuff that it's like, oh, I could save myself a little money and not take this into a shop.
Yeah.
And just do it myself.
Yep.
All right. So the first one, setting up tubeless.
Probably a 9 or 10.
Okay.
Feel very comfortable.
So wrapping the tape and all of it?
Like, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Done it multiple times. Very easy.
Okay. Do you have a compressor?
You know I don't have a compressor. Do you have a compressor? Do you want to talk about your compressor?
I do have a compressor now.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Okay.
It shoots air right in there. I love it. Okay.
Well, it goes to the hooked versus hookless too. So
true.
Yeah.
Okay.
What would you rate yourself?
Okay. Probably like a 7 or 8. Yeah.
7 or 8.
Yeah, I've got these tires.
Wow.
The Victoria Corsas on these Revolve wheels absolutely suck.
Yeah.
And I've like blistered my hands. And like before I had the compressor, I was.
But now with a compressor, is that
with a compressor? I haven't got to test it on these tires yet. I haven't set them up from scratch, but I set someone else up with some GP 5000s.
Yep. And
it was a walk in the park.
Yeah.
So, okay. Let's do this. Let's talk about brake maintenance. So
I think for the listener, I think you just want to talk about your rating of yourself. This is kind of like a, it's. I think you really just want to be able to rate yourself on this.
No.
Where would you start? Would you start an 11 on this scale of 10?
Here's where I want to go.
Why don't we start with you, Greg? I'm at a 0 for bleeding my brakes. I haven't done it.
Okay.
I don't plan on doing it in the near future. I mean, I will do it. I most likely would either take it to shop or I would have you come over and teach me how to do it. But currently it's a 0.
Well, let's even take bleeding out for a second. And let's say your brakes get contaminated and they're squeaking. Are you good with pulling the pads out and cleaning them and doing that necessary? Or are you like, oh man, that's still beyond me? Yeah,
I think on my SL7, I really haven't had I would say it's probably like a 4 or 5. Okay. I'd feel okay doing it. Mm-hmm. It's not that I feel bad. I haven't done it a ton. I mean, I certainly did it on, with my rim brakes and stuff a lot. So in that category with just rim maintenance, where it's like kind of brake adjustments, stuff like that, I'd say that would probably be more like a 6 or 7 because I ended up doing that a lot more.
So you feel good on adjusting rim brakes?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, not in an, I don't know. The scales are hard. It's not like when you take it to a guy at a shop, he's at a 10. Sure. It's like, but I'm not I don't know. Maybe it's a 5.
Okay.
4 or 5. I don't know.
See, I'm opposite on that. Like, I have never successfully adjusted rim brakes.
Oh.
Like my kids' bikes, my bike, I cannot. My old aluminum bike, like I suck at rim brakes.
Oh. Okay.
And everybody always, when disc brakes first came out, the big thing was, oh, they're so hard to work on. But I'm like, I don't think they're that.
Yeah.
Like yes, I have a bleed kit, and I have once bled my brakes now. And I was like,
but you're pretty pumped about that.
Well, yeah, because it was easier than all the crap I did with the rim brakes.
Yeah, that makes sense. So you'd rate yourself a 10?
No, I would not. I'm not going to okay, I'm not a freaking mechanic here. Like confident enough that like if someone brought their bike over, I could bleed their brakes.
Yeah.
Pretty easily now, but I still can't get rim brakes set. I hate rim brakes.
Oh.
And a lot of people are like,
sense.
people are going to hear this and be like, you're an idiot.
No.
Yeah.
Nobody'd ever say
the
that
rim
about
brake
you.
guys are like, oh, this is it's the easiest thing ever. Okay, something I won't touch is anything with bearings or headsets.
Yeah, same. I think also some of it goes to like, do you have more time than others? Because I think some of this is like you and I are both, and probably like most people, very busy.
Yep.
And arguably, it's like I'd rather pay somebody to mess with that kind of stuff to just be like, dude, I don't have the amount of time to do this. And it's one of those things between all of our training, doing all the things outside of, our bike, the podcast and everything else. It's like, there's just not enough time to be able to do some of these things. So that is certainly one too. I would say that's definitely a 0 because I'd feel so much more comfortable having somebody else do that.
Flat tire on the side of the road.
I mean, with tubeless, I had it the other day where we were riding, and I got technically, it had a little puncture, and tubeless, it was like just sealed itself back up. So currently, it's great.
You're batting 1,000.
Batting 1,000. But in terms of when I was rocking tubes, I think that I'd feel very comfortable. Probably a 9. I'm just slow. Like I'm not fast, but I've never had issues with it.
Have you had to plug a tire yet?
No, that I haven't done. But I used to plug car tires.
Yeah, same concept.
So I mean, it wouldn't be hard or
just
difficult.
tinier plugs.
It's just tinier plugs. But I need to get a little plug kit. That would be something that would be nice, especially for like longer rides or stuff like that. But
Silka makes one. It's really cool. It screws in the end caps of the bars.
Oh.
So it's like a little toolkit, and you unscrew the bar cap, and it goes in there, and that becomes your bar cap.
I like that.
I'm like, that's dope.
That's pretty cool. What would you rate yourself?
Oh gosh, I don't know. Like I've plugged tires, and I've done it successfully, and I've definitely done it unsuccessfully. I think the worst was I was plugging one, and I didn't have scissors to cut the excess, so I tried to get it with my teeth. I tried to bite the extra piece of the rubber, and I ended up just pulling the whole thing out. And I was like, just called my wife, like, just come get me. I'm in Ohio on the trail. That was not a fun day.
Oh, I bet she loved it. I bet that was I've had those calls where you're like, please they were crashes, but then it was like, please pick me up. And she's like, oh my gosh.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Do you, like tools, do you feel like you have a decent amount of like at home tools? Like, do you have a torque wrench?
I don't have a torque wrench. I want to get one. There's no reason I shouldn't have one at this point. But, I mean, Allen keys, all this stuff. Yeah, I mean, I don't have a lot of tools. Mm-hmm. That's for sure. I think I have enough tools to get me by for most things. But
for basic maintenance.
Basic maintenance, for sure. Yeah. How about you? Like, your torque wrench is great. I've used it. It's great.
It it does everything that you basically need. It just it doesn't go high enough for the bottom bracket.
Yeah.
So, but I have a neighbor friend who's got like a car torque wrench.
Oh,
so I just borrow his to do the bottom bracket.
Yeah.
It's pretty straightforward with that. But yeah, I think the bearings are the biggest thing I don't mess with.
Yeah, which makes sense. And some people do, and they have no issue with it.
And I mean, they're like,
it feels like you could get to that point, though. I could see you doing it and you being like, oh, it's not that bad.
Yeah, I think, it's that first time you do it, you don't have the confidence.
Yeah.
And then once you do it, you kind of build confidence.
It's true. You could do it with somebody who knows what they're doing and then like learn from them and just watch them,
I could just do that too.
Not necessarily just try it 100%. No, but I mean in a good way where you like have somebody who's like, oh, I've done this and I know how to do this. And then you're just like, just kind of walks you through it. Like you could watch obviously YouTube videos.
Yeah.
But, having somebody there too, where you could
to kind of guide you when you
Yeah.
make a mistake. No, that's
Yeah.
great.
We'd love to hear from you guys. What do you think your skills are on your bike maintenance? Are you the type of person where you really love working on your bike? Or do you, maybe it's a little bit less time and you feel more confident taking it to a bike shop and just would rather have somebody pay a little bit of money, but you'd rather have the expert just take care of it and, hey, your bike's, fixed up, ready to go? Yeah? Love to hear it.
Absolutely. Also, we didn't add this, so we're going to go back to it. What was your favorite moment of the tour?
Oh, yeah.
Please drop a comment below. Any highlights for you that stuck out with this year's tour? We'd love to hear those. Please comment below on your thoughts, and be sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok for more great content.
We've got some exciting episodes coming up.
Some exciting stuff coming out. I don't want to get
Yeah.
into it just yet, but there is some
be
exciting videos that we're going to be dropping in the next few weeks here.
We got some exciting videos, but also we got some exciting guests coming up too.
Yes.
It's the next 3 or 4 episodes. It'll be really fun.
Yeah, we can talk about that.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about the exciting content, but we can definitely drop some hints at some guests coming on.
We can. Yeah.
So, yeah, we've got a US Pro coming on.
Big dog.
We've got our
coach.
We've got our coach coming on.
We finally roped our coach
We
into
finally got our coach on this thing.
Yep.
We've got we coming up. The bike lawyer himself,
That's
Chris
right.
Carville, is going to come on
Mr. Chris.
and talk about.
He's got an interesting story.
He's got an interesting story, his practice, and I think he has a lot to offer for just people who are nervous on the road, not knowing their rights as a cyclist and how to navigate that with traffic. So I think he's got a lot of great insights there.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
So yeah, all right. So please continue to follow along for more great content, and until next time, see ya.
We'll see you guys.